2024年7月10日，美国诉郭文贵先生案，辩方律师总结陈词。所以，所谓的承诺，你听到几位证人说，他们在2018年11月的新闻发布会上听到了，还记得吗？他们站在证人席上宣誓后，告诉你们这一切。在我们审判的第2周，我知道这是很久以前的事了。你看到沙梅尔·梅德拉诺展示了一张摘要图表，显示了这一承诺捐款的假设。实际上，让我们来看看，你们还记得这个吗？此处卡马拉珠律师展现一个视频，显示郭先生和班农先生一起直播，所以看看这里说的是什么。郭文贵享受民主西方自由的同时，承诺立即建立一个1亿美元的基金，这被称为法治基金。然后他们把这个放在旁边，这是他的钱。这就是政府希望你们相信在新闻发布会上所说的内容。仅仅这样展示，也许与那些证人所说的对上了，也许支持他们的观点。但问题是，这不是班农先生实际上所说的。记得在舒里克先生交叉审问梅德拉诺先生时，他播放了班农先生声明的完整视频片段。他说了什么？看看吧。播放媒体。卡马拉珠律师说，当你听完整个片段，你可以看到班农先生并没有把1亿美元与郭文贵的个人捐款联系起来。尽管政府的证人告诉你们，梅斯特雷女士、陈先生和珍妮里说这是他们听到的内容，班农先生显然在谈论郭媒体进行的调查所花费的钱。而那是什么调查？那是对一家中国公司海航集团主席死亡的调查，甚至政府的一位证人周乐也认为这是对中共的批评。
And what Miles Guo has committed to, since he's enjoying the freedoms of the Democratic West, is to establish a $100 million fund immediately, which will be called the Rule of Law Fund. This is his money. And what Miles Guo has committed to, since he's enjoying the freedoms of the Democratic West, is to establish a $100 million fund immediately, which will be called the Rule of Law Fund. And its purpose will be to work with the victims' families to gather more information, and also to begin to proceed in whatever venue possible legal remedies for these victims. So the people in China, the live stream they're watching, I think Miles Guo and the people associated with Miles are making a commitment. You are not alone. You're not going to be forgotten, and that this is the beginning of a process. And I think you've seen from the thoroughness of this initial effort, and this is, you're only seeing the very basic outlines of both the financial investigation and the investigation on the untimely demise of the chairman of HNA. He also will immediately, they've approached him, as you have seen through the critical path or the event horizon that happened after they accused him of lying about HNA and all the subsequent disclosures that came out after that. They have come to him to settle. He is refusing to settle and wants to go on the record. He will not settle with HNA on their defamation suit. In fact, he's going to do the exact opposite. He put out in September of last year a request for relevant documents in discovery process and was blown off. And he's saying today that he's going to immediately subpoena all books and records, all information, and they will interview and take depositions from and have full discovery on everyone associated with this, including American and European financial institutions and the executives associated with those institutions. When I say the beginning of a process, what Miles Guo and others are saying is that financial institutions in the West and the executives are no longer going to get a free ride on the totalitarian regime of the Chinese Communist Party. You're not going to be able to make money off this and not be held accountable. You are going to be held accountable. Also, immediately, he is going to do a counterclaim against HNA and all associated parties related to the defamation suit. In addition, he's going to gather all the information from the investigative group and turn that over to the appropriate authorities, that they can do whatever they think is necessary. Last but not least, this presentation and other presentations, Miles has committed that he will take throughout the United States to go to various cities to make sure people in those cities and communities can get the full briefing. He is also committed to the degree he can to go overseas and to spread this. Now, Miles Guo wrote some pretty big checks today that's going to have to be cashed in this presentation. Principally, he is saying that HNA, in association with the Chinese Communist Party, is not just an intelligence asset, but a money laundering asset of senior officials with CCP and the company. And he is highly confident that when all the information is turned over and using the rule of law of the American courts, that will be shown in the transparency that one needs. It is shocking to me that it has taken to November of 2018 for this to happen. The recklessness of the Chinese Communist Party senior officials and the recklessness of the financial institution and senior executives in those institutions to allow this to happen is nothing short of stunning. Now, what we'd like to do, we've run over time, but we're going to take questions, and then we're going to you'll have full access to, the media will have full access to Miles, to Mr. Gaetan from France, from Tony the investigator, and myself afterwards. We would like to take a few questions, and what we're going to do is I want you to identify yourself. I know a few of you, but if you please identify yourself so the live streaming audience can hear you, and we're going to make sure it's translated so Miles can answer the questions. I'd like to start with Sasha Gong, from columnist from the South China Morning Post.
But Steve, I have to correct you. That's not the case.
Okay.
I just write for them. And anyway, I think I earned my right to have the first question since I almost lost my job.
Since you started this, it's...
Well, anyway, the question is that, Miles Guo, what you said today and what you said in the past year and a half is pretty incredible. And you remember in the beginning, well, in Chinese is that 省贼一样省了2天 because I did not believe a lot of it. And now I have been doing a lot of investigation on this and working on. So what surprised me is that I don't see a lot of media attention, media report on what you said, because it's pretty incredible. And as a media person, I wonder how much pressure the Chinese government put on the international media. In my case, I have dozens of my friends in China being arrested. In one of them, actually, Steve, you may have your first case. My friend, Dr. Liu Pengfei, last name Liu, L-I-U, Pengfei, he spread your word. He's my friend. He was arrested last September. He's still in jail. He has been tortured. Very miserable story. I hope you guys will pay attention to him. But, you know, pressure to him and his friends, dozens of my friends, to pressure me to shut up. So I wonder if other people, other members of the international media also, you know, suffered such pressure. And otherwise, why don't we see more reports on what you said? Another question, one more question is that I read some documents and I read the New York Times report. It said the Chinese government was willing to pay $3 billion to get you back. Do you have more details of that information and in what way they can pay the $3 billion? And one more question to Mr. Bannon is the Trump administration aware of, you know, what's happening here? Thank you.
Okay, let's take those in order. I'll do the last one first. This has nothing to do with the Trump administration. This is a totally independent. You know, Miles is over here, you know, sought asylum. It's a completely independent. This is his money.